be live.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Yeah, I feel bad for like the people who do catch our audio
Oh
version.
man, they
Because
start off.
lately
They're
we've
like,
been just rolling right into it, just go
well,
time,
yeah, right. And then they're like, wait, did we miss something? Because it seems like it was cut
just
at the
sort of
wrong
cut
time.
in.
Yeah, like bad editing or something. Like from
Yeah,
people that have
it's
never produced
incorrect.
anything. That's how we do
It's
it.
the incorrect way to do this.
It's the, it is typically how we do it though. Last couple of weeks or so, we've been taking it easy and hanging out and kicking it with everybody. And I feel like today is a little bit different. Obviously, it actually marks the end of something that caused us to change the whole timing of our show in the
Yeah.
first place, which is okay. But today is the first day of Eid, the first day of 3 days of celebration for the end of the month of Ramadan, which, as you know, I was definitely, I was going to say I was definitely practicing. I don't. I don't know why I had to preface it that with definitely. Thank
That
you
is a
very
thing you
much.
were doing. I
That
believe
was very
that you
much.
had mentioned that.
It is a thing I do, and I try to do it once a year, not once, but like for duration. Um, Wait, I thought it was 7. Yeah, no, it's the timing. I typically get the show ready at least about 30 minutes or so. But how are you doing? How you doing, Juan? I haven't. I mean,
Um,
we haven't talked since last week, but I've seen a few videos. The whole, I guess the video you put out this morning was actually a very interesting video, and I was going to ask,
sure,
because I noticed that it wasn't even on YouTube, right? I think
that's right.
you only posted it on
On
I don't
Twitch.
know. I was going to say Vimeo. I don't know why I said Vimeo. I'm sorry, I forgot about Vimeo. I'm like,
No
uh,
worries.
no. Um,
Yeah,
yes,
those YouTube competitors, it's slim pickings out there.
dude, it's been very. It's been weird. Let's just say that it's been definitely weird for a while. Not like a couple of weeks. I was like, it's been
I,
weird
I
for a
feel the
while
weirdness has been kind of cranked up to 11 over the last couple of months. Like
for
we've
sure.
seen some changes. There was a spike in sort of a viewership and audience participation near the beginning of the pandemic, and then that
Mhm.
cratered. Like it just tanked
I think yeah.
bad. And a number of tech tubers, sort of at our tier, what I would say are good medium-sized grinder
Hmm.
channels. Like we're just grinding this out. We're not, super top tier,
No,
millions of subscribers kinds of channels. We're
no,
all going through very similar existential crises. And
we all hit a certain wall at some point, and you realize that. Yeah, no, that's pretty much the end of my content. Might as well move on to the next one. Um,
Mhm.
it's I will say this much. I will agree to the fact also to a certain point. Yes, I too participated in a part of that as well. I think the way we've um I mean, it spoke directly at me. To me too, not just at me, but it spoke to me when I was watching the video.
I,
And
I was
you're
trying to kind of tap into some feels that I think are very common
yeah.
for a number of us who are trying to produce content and are still holding on to a notion of reviewing that I
Hmm.
think is quickly becoming unfashionable on YouTube.
Hmm.
The amount of work that goes into the videos that we create, trying to take our time to research topics and present them correctly,
Yeah.
verifying manufacturers' claims and trying to test when companies make larger claims. But
Yeah.
this especially came to a head. There were a number of videos just back and forth between a number of creators where an entire week seems to have gone by where the entire tech community wasn't talking about tech but was talking about the tech community. And this seems to be, in my opinion, it's evidence of the beginnings of the end, where YouTube's algorithm has properly boiled this audience down into whatever kind of reality TV show drama it can extract
Hmm.
from the people
It's
that
about the
make it.
drama. Yeah, no, I think you said it right. It's more about the drama, and it's it's just it's a different let's just say this. It's a very different place than it was when I started on YouTube and when I started
Oh yeah,
creating content. And you're right. I think the
unrecognizable. Yeah.
oh no, yeah. And then I think the current situation, how things are going right now, it's um it could be also because of the fact that a lot of people are starting to go back, and things are changing. There's not as much of a, I'm not going to say captive audience, but more like, people at home and, online, and maybe
Mhm.
watching content. There is a shift in the approach, but is just the algorithm is just not able to adjust. And then the other thing, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, the YouTube app got updated now that we actually have a shorts button, right? There's a shorts section in the YouTube
Yeah.
app. And if you watch the explore page, there's six, I was going to say 6 to 7 videos today that were shorts on the explore. So they're
Yeah.
shifting into very different content that is very like instant, like, they're almost like they're trying to capitalize on TikTok level type of
Oh,
engagement,
yeah.
or,
Oh, they
reels and so on.
definitely want that. So they want,
Yeah.
like, the YouTube brand to synonymously mean cable TV competitor,
Hmm.
online streaming service competitor, and TikTok competitor. And, the focus for sort of the traditional content that kinda drew us to producing on YouTube
Yeah.
is kind of getting pushed aside for the immediacy and the novelty. And this has been a trend for YouTube for a while. If something's not a trending topic, if it's not novel, if it's not already something that YouTube knows will be popular, it kind of pushes your content off to the side. And now
Yeah.
that seems to be weaponized. Like over the last couple months, it's become an aggressive play to marginalize content that seems to exist more at the fringes, regardless of audience. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter, unless you've got such a huge fan base that is just rabid for whatever new video or content you put out. Like if you're a Mr. Beast, you've trained your audience to follow you through random. The channel is just built on random.
No, so, I
Um,
mean, yeah, he could put out a 20-second video, which he did actually not that long ago.
yeah,
It was a weird, like a short thing, and still would get the views. You're right. It's a very polarized. It's almost like
but
the
again,
sep-
he has the backings of the algorithm for that.
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
if we were to expect that, any percentage of our audience were really getting shown our videos in any kind of timely fashion, then I think our views and our metrics would be much, much different. But I think YouTube is already front loading the analysis of what the video is about. And you know what? This isn't going to be as popular a video. I don't think we really need to push this one out there. And I'm still hearing regularly from people like, hey, I smashed that bell icon and I did get notified about your video 2 days after you published it.
I usually get it a day after.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like I watch it and I'm like, wait a minute, this is the video he pushed out yesterday. Because I usually get the email from Patreon, because when you post to the Patreon,
Hmm.
which if you guys in the chat haven't had a chance to check it out, please make sure to support Mr. Juan Bagnell, because the Patreon is obviously the best place to check it out. He also, the video I was talking about was posted purely on the Patreon, as well as his Twitch, which is
Yeah.
I was going to say Vimeo again. I don't know why I keep thinking Vimeo. I forget about it. It's just not even in the conversation.
But again,
Um,
it's kind of encouraging, like an examination on where we host content. I
mhm,
might get back. I used to do this much more religiously, but I would back up all of my videos on Twitch, and I
mhm.
haven't done that for a while. And I think I need to get back to doing that.
No,
But
definitely.
it really was a brutal week for the infighting and the drama of who's a real reviewer, who's
Maybe
just a
maybe maybe
marketing
you and I
show.
need to have a maybe you and I need to have a fight. Maybe we
Oh
need
yeah,
to
you throw this down
we
and
need to have some beef, and we need to take this out, on a
yeah.
series of
Yeah,
videos
we
where
really
we keep sending
gotta
our viewers
limit
back
it.
and forth
Yeah,
so
and
that
now
we
you
can.
go to TK and you tell him that he's a poopy head,
Yeah, exactly.
and
And tell Juan, tell him, that Wonder Woman hat that you're wearing, and he's like, I know, but that's not a Wonder Woman hat, TK. What are you talking about? Do you even know, bro? What?
oh, do you even Wayland Utani, bro?
Not even, bro. It's a totally different show for a different
Nuh-uh.
episode of No. Um,
But what's
on a li-
frustrating is that idea. I mean, again,
uh,
unfortunately, just kind of reinforces
Oh,
the the,
absolutely. It's
the
it's the drama.
terribleness
It's the drama.
of
It's the fake whatever it is, just to create some kind of back and forth where the
drama
algorithm
dance.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and
It's
and
where
it's
they see
all the
like, wait a minute,
reality
there's
TV,
engagement
like
from both sides. They're jumping to
chest
each other.
puffery, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
get
yeah.
right up in your face, but we know nothing's gonna happen, brah.
I love that Adam is jumping in. Is like, Juan is just a corporate man. He's just a corporate man, man. I'm telling you right now, you, me, and Adam, we just get into a massive issue going on back and forth, and we just get into just keep sending it back and forth. And every other day or so, one of us drops a video, and then we just get people to go back.
Just keep cycling it. So
I mean, I'm kidding, of
it's a
course.
commentary I'm bringing up, one, for fellow creators,
Yeah,
because the reason why I feel sort of a personal stake in this is because a significant portion of my commentary is built to be either contrarian or confrontational.
yeah.
But I feel like I haven't done a very good job of explaining why, or why I make content that way, and what it is that I'm trying to confront. And for me, it's less this notion of one content creator that I've got to call out, and more, in every one of my individual phone reviews, there's almost always a trend that Samsung and Apple are immune from, but
Oh
any
yeah,
other player is going to get criticized for things that we would just, I mean,
we
it
would
would be a
accept if it was
complete
if it was
non-issue.
yeah if it was Sam Apple, of course. Of
Yeah.
course, but I would
So,
say this: we need to call out somebody. We need to call out Jeff. I like to put him
yeah,
right on the spot right now.
for sure.
Dude is awesome. He does great
I
work.
think everyone needs to know the truth about
About Jeff
El Jefe
Hefe.
reviews.
Yep,
And the truth is,
he
and you
likes
can quote
diners.
me on
Oh,
this,
sorry. Yeah,
you can take this to the bank, that the
yeah.
dude is righteous. All right? That's what's
I've
going
been.
on.
You know what? I've been thinking that could have. Yeah, you know, I was suspicious of this. This entire thing was really orchestrated by Jeff. I know that much. This whole thing is Jeff,
He's got
and
all
and
that
it,
insight on metrics and how to like, make better content, and all that vidya stuff. He knows
look at
what's
that.
going on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his
that's an
eye.
eyeball on us.
Yeah.
So
That's fair.
a part of this is, there are a number of people. I mean, like, Jeff has been joining these conversations. Adam and I have shared a number of conversations.
Yep.
I had two very emotional back and forths in my DMs today with, I guys that I probably shouldn't out. Like, I start to feel almost like a therapist, doctor patient confidentiality, but folks that are going through some struggles trying to figure out just where they fit in all of this, and where it evolves to. And the reason why I kind of formatted my video this morning, which is that slightly more introspective look, was there are ideas that I think we should confront. But when it comes to the individual creators, and when it comes to the viewers and the people that are actually like consuming this content, it's not, jokingly, it's not me versus TK.
No, I know. Yeah,
I,
and I
I think
never
that one's
wanted to
safe.
be that way.
Well, I think that one's safe because we probably have a fair amount of audience overlap. But
Well, yeah,
what we really need to push back against is us as people versus social media monetization.
it's true.
And if
Hmm.
we can't encourage our audience to kind of support through action, then all that does is validate the current business practices. And it's tough right now because I feel like we've lost a lot of people, who were fans of this kind of content years ago,
Hmm.
because of the tropes of tech reviewing today. And we're probably not going to get them back. And we're not really adding new blood. So what we're seeing is an increasingly hyper echo chambered, marginalized community of tech. And it's getting harder and harder to break through that, because you really can only validate the bias of that community. If you step outside of that, you get hammered. And
Oh yeah,
if you're trying to build a channel, the safest thing to do is just toe the line and keep your channel super narrow focused on maybe one or two manufacturers. Well, you're not going to waste your time with ZTE outside of a novelty piece. You're not going to waste your time with Motorola or Sony outside of a, this is how they failed because they don't sell as well kind of video. You're going to focus on whatever corporation is going to already bring you the most amount of traffic. And YouTube encourages this and then reinforces it, and then everyone profits from it. And I think we need a really hard accounting of what it is that we're trying to accomplish as tech fans. And
absolutely.
it's going to be, I'm going to be very interested to see where we end up over the next year or two, because I think the writing is on the wall that outside of the largest marketing departments with the biggest budgets, the tech that I came to love is probably dead, is or at least on life support or in a coma. So
It's becoming harder and harder to distinguish brands from each other in a to a certain aspect. I mean, we're becoming very
yeah,
brand aware, brand preferences more than the actual tech itself, like what the actual tech does. Um, I do. I mean, it is very very exhausting, even at the level. I mean, I'm not. And again, I don't really. I mean, we got into it when we got into it. There's a different time and thing. There's. I mean, obviously, we were to a certain point lucky enough to be able to get into it at the time we got in. That we worked and we did all of the things that went through. I'm not saying that our effort went. It wasn't pure luck. It was work. It was dedication. It was years of putting into it, day in and day out, and trying to do things. But you're right. I think as a community, we need to rely on each other to offset each other's. And I feel like in a certain way, I'm not saying weaknesses, but necessarily maybe lack of maybe emphasis on where. In my opinion, and I think Jeff did the same thing exactly when he was, when he was talking about Issa, um, is showcase other people's or other creators' content when they're creating content similar. You're not competing with them. This is not a race to the flagpole, or I want to reach a certain number
which
before
again
Juan
though,
does or something. But
we've got to train an audience to actually follow us on those conversations, because
exactly, and
between
I
us, it's not a race, but
no,
according to YouTube,
it
it
is,
is.
and it is.
And that's what we're fighting. And so again, I feel like this was the right time for our community to kind of air out some of our dirty laundry.
Hmm.
I feel that a lot of thesis statements and a lot of hypotheses are focusing on the wrong ills.
Hmm.
The ills, I don't believe, are people trying to monetize their channels and trying to build their audiences and trying to play the game. I feel the ills are platforms that monetize our content and use us as fuel for services to profit with marketers,
Hmm.
and pitting us against each other. And that to
Exactly.
me is where I feel the greatest harm is coming from. The platform that we contributed to is now turning against the kind of content that we produce, and is sort of weaponizing the divisiveness in our community for its own benefit.
True. Yeah.
We're at each other's throats right now, and YouTube is laughing all the way to the bank. And that to me becomes the harm. The mental health harm, the community harm, and also the greater consumer harm, where I would not turn to us if I were an outsider looking in. I
Hmm.
wouldn't look at techies with our ridiculous thumbnails and our whining, radicalized fights with each other, and then think like, yeah, these guys know what's up. I'm going to trust them the next time I need to spend $1,000 on a phone. I wonder what they think. Like you don't bring more people
No.
to
No.
that conversation with the way that we've been conducting ourselves.
No, I agree. I agree. And I don't want to make it sound like we're trying to bring it down and the
It's
after
heavy
dark
stuff.
episode. It is
Yeah.
heavy. It is, but
And it
it's
has
something that needs to be said.
absolutely sucked all the air out of tech this last week. This has definitely occupied a huge part of the conversation.
I agree. And we have to kind of, like I said, we have to kind of work it on our end and try to at least try to bring it with an example. At least show the work. Definitely talk about it. Promote other creators, because at
Mhm.
the end of the day, so I look at it as a community. I try to explain it as a community effort, not necessarily as a single effort. It's just that we you put in the work, you put in the hours and everything, and if you end up doing work in a certain specific, like when you do your deep dives on the camera, right? I'm not gonna lie. I don't think that's something that I feel as passionate about on the camera side,
Mhm.
as you probably would when you do something like that to that level. And what I
Sure.
mean by that, obviously, by contrast of approach. Um, I love doing more of an all-rounder type of a video as opposed to a deep dive into a specific, but that's my style. And if I do find that somebody's interested in more of a deep dive into a camera side, I am more than happy to swing them over to your side, because to me that's
Yeah.
a benefit for them. Introducing your content, your style of content to him or her is, I feel like, beneficial, because that's the effort that we all try to do and work together with. Um, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there's been hours, there's been days where I've called and I've talked to you too, right? I mean, we've all hit the wall. It's
Oh
not
yeah.
it's not uncommon. It happens, and but I would say this much: it happened more frequently within the last year for me than it had in the past. Uh, Primarily because of the shift of approach, right? We don't have places to go. We don't socialize as we used to. There's no that travel aspect of the work um, changed for me. Being here the whole time, never hanging out. I mean, we saw each other like once, I think, maybe twice, I think, in the entire year. Once, maybe, probably. So, anyways, what I'm trying to say is, we need to support each other. We need to support it, and you have an amazing community. That's for sure. If there's anything that's been
This
working,
is easier for me to kind of voice this, where it feels like over the last 2 years, this little club has kind of been soul replenishing. I mean, like Sam's in here, Joe. Oh, me and Matt just like to have fun, and I'm just a poser. You're like, nah, man, you're a part of this too now. You're
yeah,
making content and putting it out there, so
dude, weekly basis,
kind of
man.
one of us now.
Yeah,
But everyone in here, we had Adam, we've got Jeff,
Michael's in there,
Michael
Sebastian's in there as
Peppertech.
well.
I
Yep, yep.
and when you see how guys like Aditya and Gary and Sebastian and Ranesh
Oh,
are
Runesh in there
making
as well. Yeah.
appearances in the chats on other streams, this is where I really don't like trying to frame this conversation that like I'm some kind of singular figure and people consume my content, because these are exactly the names and faces that I see who, even though they're not on camera with me, are contributing to a conversation every single time
Hmm.
I want to host a discussion.
Absolutely.
And when I got started in YouTube, the main reason why I started doing YouTube was because I didn't want to run a forum. That's how old I am. I mean, like the big way that you
We should
would
change the
host a
show to
community.
this day in tech. Back in,
Right.
sorry.
It's like, let me tell you about what it was like, when I finally upgraded from dial-up. No,
Yeah.
I didn't want to build a forum. I loved going to classic XDA. I was regularly on like the Windows Mobile
Dude, that's how I
website.
started. Yeah.
Dave's
Nope.
iPack, if you remember that back in the day. I still hold the overclocking record for the HX 2750 iPack on a 600 megahertz
That
X
hurts.
scale processor. That's me, man. I own that. No one's topped me. I overclocked the heck out of that
That was
little PDA.
it
Um,
was fuming at the end of that exercise. Yes.
but from those days when you really wanted to build a community and have discussions, it was about making a forum. and
Yeah.
and
No.
as I
Exactly.
started writing my own content, it was the comments on my blog posts, and from there it was like, really, I want to host a discussion, so the video is a place to start that discussion, and then the comments are where people follow through on the forum thread. But what
Hmm.
have we seen from YouTube is devaluing sort of the commenting, hiding
Yep.
it under a layer on the YouTube app, making it harder to see replies. They're not nested in a very organic way. And now it's trying to make everything TikTok-y. And that's fine. It's a replicatable business model. I'm surprised Google didn't try and pull this off back in the Vine days.
Dude,
But
it's just
growth
funny
is
that when you look at the
huge
reels,
for
90% of them are reposts of TikTok. I was like, am I on TikTok or am I on YouTube? I'm like, what
Well,
happened here?
again, and it's
Sorry.
like, well, if you've been using TikTok and you can make popular content, if you get the most engagement, they set up $100 million fund to pay people for their shorts based on the engagement that they
Yeah,
get.
I saw that they're
And
going to start there.
it's such weak sauce because people are going to take that money, they're going to run with it, and as soon as that money dries up,
Yep, they'll jump into the next y-
or if something really takes off on YouTube Shorts, they're just gonna share it over on TikTok again, also, and double dip. Like it's this kind of stuff that like,
well, Instagram found a way to at least try to fight it by trying to not promote videos that have the word TikTok in the algorithm in the actual video, which still kind of pass through. But just seriously, like the things that you see, like when I hit the reel, not sorry, the reel, the shorts. When I hit the shorts button
yeah,
on my YouTube app today, which I didn't even realize it was there, uh, literally the first six were TikTok. It says TikTok in the video. I
yep.
was like, Yep, that's what you're doing. You're bringing TikTok
Because
over
also, like, what incentive does someone have
to
as a
recreate the content.
TikToker to recreate it?
Well,
It's
it's
already
also
finished,
the
and
app itself isn't as well. It's not as robust as what TikTok offers. Which, and again, when I want to make it sound like it's a we're discussing or
and
negotiating.
I'm saying all of this. I have no TikTok. I am not on TikTok. I don't TikTok. It's I don't even have a horse in that race. So my estimation of YouTube Shorts is even another step removed, because I'm not on TikTok. I don't think very highly of TikTok, and I feel Shorts is just a cheap clone of TikTok.
It's the
So
reels,
that's
it's
worse.
the stories, it's not the stories. It's essentially yeah, it's been replicated to I think YouTube is even a little bit late for it in the US market realistically. If you
Big
think about it,
time.
because Twitter, Instagram already took it over and it was
I
there.
mean, like, Instagram was working on variants of this idea back before TikTok was TikTok.
That's what's going to happen. Juan's going
Well,
to just show
according
up
to
on his
YouTube, you're allowed to. So
yeah.
I have to go through over 1,000 videos and manually say that you can't go make shorts out of my videos, because apparently YouTube has given you permission to use my content however you see fit. But seriously,
You
from Jeff, I'd be fine if you wanted to make a bunch of shorts
no,
out
totally.
of my
I
videos.
love that one.
Saying,
OnlyFans is
hey,
better.
babe.
Only Juan's it's better than OnlyFans. Oh man. Rolando's in the chat. Tech Valor's in the chat as well. Hey. Aditya. I love it. Aditya's comedy level is seriously like very
It's
low
very,
key,
yeah,
but it hits.
it's very biting. I like it.
Last week's episode, I'm still recuperating from last week's. I'm not going to talk about what happened last week. I'm
Oh,
just going to let it go.
and my tech review, I gotta give him a public shout out,
Oh,
because he
Rolando.
had my
Yeah.
back when there was a really trolly dude that was trying to stir up some crap between me and tech tablets. It's like, oh, you went
Oh,
to his
wow.
channel and you told him like how to do his reviews, so you're just a troll. And you're like, no, me and tech tablets had a conversation about how to measure wireless signal performance, and like, it was
People.
constructive criticism. So don't start trying to stir up,
Beef.
drama between
Yeah.
me and tech tablets, because I love what tech tablets is doing. Like, you're not winning that one. Be better. Be
That
better.
that'll be the topic on next week's SGTQA. No, I'm just kidding.
It's just, I'm starting some beef with tech tablets. It's great.
No, I did. I totally. Yeah, no. Constructive criticism conversations need to be. We talk to each other in the tech community. We do talk, and yeah, Ronaldo. If Ronaldo and I kind of go back from a while back when we used to see each other at OnePlus events. Back when OnePlus events were in
The
person.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thing. You know how it is. But yeah, no, definitely. I want to say first and foremost, obviously, thank you to everybody in the chat, which with all your support. And I felt like it was I needed to talk a little bit more about the video today, because I felt like it had a very strong message that needed to be carried, and also because I couldn't find it on YouTube, and then I realized that it was, I think you posted it specifically on Twitch for the
Yep.
content that you wanted to, and on the Patreon, of course. So with that being said, I will say that when I was talking to you earlier today about topics and so on, I was kind of a little bit surprised that you wanted to talk about the duo again, because I'm feeling like
Just to mention it. Yeah.
something. Yeah, it's been some time since the duo's been out. It's received a few updates. I know
Mhm.
Sam still has his. Since it was actually coincidentally that we do have Sam in the chat as well.
Hey,
Uh,
duo pals.
y'all are duo pals, exactly. Yeah, no. How's it been? Has there been any
Well,
change or
so
anything
one of
going on?
one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it up was because we just caught the news today that there's like the last gasp major price cut. So the carrier branded versions of the Duo, I believe, are now $699,
What?
and depending on where you grab it, there are also like earbud deals. Like, one of them was, I think was it Tech Valor?
Was
It was on her podcast
mhm,
today. They were going through, like, they go through cool deals, and by the
mm,
way, that's another great conversation show. Some ladies talking about tech and finding
totally.
cool deals is a wonderful energy to contribute to this community. But it was a pair of FN6 LG tones. so they're true wireless.
Mm-hmm.
And so for $699 you get the Duo and some
Duo.
earbuds. And you're like, for a phone that's kind of on its way out, we can assume that this is sort of the last run of this hardware. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure where Microsoft is going to go, because I think there are some major problems with this form factor if you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to think about 865s, which have
Oh,
separate modem components, or 888s that run
hot.
stupid hot and kill batteries. The farther I get away from the release of the Duo, the more I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that this has an 855. It's actually the better engine for
I would
this
I
car.
would probably say just release it with the 860, man. The overclocked 855. It's practically the closest solution, or wait it out, or even go
I
seven
I
series, man.
I would almost, so that's exactly what I was going to say is it I don't know that I'd want an overclocked 855. Because
Yeah,
once
yeah,
you're already running it hotter from the get-go, you don't have room for thermal throttling. As soon as
no,
you
no.
encounter, performance, you're just going to tank performance anyway. And I think that's some of what I ran into on the 870 with
Mm-hmm.
the Black Shark 4, why it wasn't performing as well as some of the 865 phones. Again, it is better binned, so you
Mm-hmm.
can't it starts out better out of the box, but then you have nowhere to go. So the wonderful thing, and again, coming back to this, where it was probably out of necessity that
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft couldn't cram an 865 and separate modem
Mm-hmm.
into something this shockingly thin. There was just no more room left inside
It's
to have an
beautifully thin.
external modem.
Yep.
We've ended up with what I think is the better combination of hardware.
Mm-hmm.
Moving forward, if they're going to use any modern chipset, they're going to have to make this thicker. They're going to have to include bigger batteries, and they're going to have to figure out thermals in a way that might be more difficult, but at least we've got surface area to play with. So the software updates have actually been kind of hit and miss.
Mm-hmm.
I did a look back a while back with one of the major OTAs, and it was brilliant. Then it got
Mm-hmm.
another update, and it
Took a step back.
tanked the performance. It was a noticeable step back, and I just got a new Microsoft Launcher
Mm-hmm.
beta. It was either today. Yeah, I mean, I installed it today. I think it was out yesterday, and all day today I've been playing with it again. It's like, okay, we're kind of polishing back up from that last OTA. This is better. This is kind of closer to what I want. But single-handedly, in ways that traditional slates can't, the Duo has kind of reignited my interest in
Mm-hmm.
Android as a tablet based operating system. And I mean, I'd love to see a Surface Solo, a
Mm-hmm.
Surface Uno. Like, I think that there's merit to that, especially since we know
Going backwards
that.
on the numbers, right? We released the Duo before we released the Uno, and
Well,
then they would be the
I
zero. No, just
I
kidding.
think you could have a like a three-peat. You could do a Surface Uno, a Surface Duo, and a
The
Surface
Surface
Trio,
Trio.
and have like a Z Fold, because it's so thin, you
Oh
could
my!
probably pull that off, and
See,
then
then
always
then
have
you
an
can call
outside
it a Z
screen.
Fold, right? Wouldn't that official? Then you can really call it a Z Fold.
But don't call it a Z, just call it the Trio, and we'll all know that it's the real Z. But you could have a screen on the outside all the time, no matter
No,
how
no.
you, and it would still be thinner than
Then
most folding phones.
the Z Fold 3, the Z
So
Fold
so
2. Yeah.
so in using something like this is where the strategy is getting a little precious.
Mhm.
We're in the middle of crazy component shortages. I'm expecting
Yes.
pricing to get hit. Even like the Xiaomi CEO was saying, there's no way. I mean, at some point, you've got to raise prices if this continues. We know that there are thousands of Ford automobiles and trucks that are just sitting on assembly lines right now because they all
Waiting for
lack
the phone.
car
Yep.
computers. Like, we know that there are some systemic problems happening here. So Microsoft has shelved, what is it? Windows 10X,
Hmm.
what was going to be the backbone of the Neo. So the
Hmm.
Neo is probably further in limbo than it was before.
Yeah, supposed
There's
to
an
be. Yeah.
opportunity with something like Duo to kind of ride out, showcase services, showcase strategy, And
Mm-hmm.
all of the software that Microsoft is working on for their Android 11 update
Mm-hmm.
is super hardcore custom, is getting shared directly with Google. So we know that there's been a lot of overlap between Microsoft optimizations and
Mm-hmm.
Android 12, which will hopefully pay off with Android 13. So it
I
just kind
like.
of felt like the
We're
right
not
time to
even at
come
12.
back.
We're thinking of 13. Yeah, no, I know,
But it kind of felt like the right time to come back, because the Duo still exists at not like a bleeding edge. I mean, something that's pre-cutting edge, you know, like you
Mhm,
haven't broken skin yet edge. But it exists in a fashion, it exists in a template
mhm,
that is very encouraging. Like, it gives me some hope for what might come.
mhm,
Improvements to desktop modes where
exactly.
Motorola and
Mhm.
Lenovo can make some
I'm
noise.
very happy that Motorola's finally jumping in on that as well. Yeah,
They,
definitely.
like, the company who should have been
At the
and now
beginning with
finally coming to deliver it. It's a
wasn't
stupid
the
name,
Atrix
but
was
I love
a
it.
yeah, oh, I know, don't get me wrong. Yeah, the Atrix was a
24.
yeah, remember it was the Atrix was a Motorola, isn't it? If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken. Yeah,
yeah.
they started the whole thing back in the day, but it's almost like well, that's just never going to take off. It's just docking your phone into a dock and getting it into a
Mhm.
bigger. No, I
But
remember
all
yeah.
the things that I really do appreciate about iPad OS,
Hmm.
where as a functionality nerd, as a multitasking nerd, as a capabilities nerd, iPad OS is kind of the only thing I'm interested in from Apple right now. It's the one with proper multitasking support. It's
Hmm.
the one with slightly better file management. It's the one that supports USB 3 accessories, and handling a Duo gets me really close to an Android flavor of what I like that's working well in iPad OS. So this is not this is not a kind of a spur of the moment kind of purchase. This is not
No,
an impulse buy. But at $6.99, if
I.
you wanted to play with a powerful, functional, crazy experiment of a product, I don't know of any other LTE enabled tablets
Mhm.
that are going to be this revolutionary,
No, no,
that are
not
going to
nothing.
move the needle on this as far.
Well, not only that, most Android tablets, with the exception of Samsung's, Tab S series, are for the most part just meant for media consumption, not really for multitasking and true powerhouse of an
Mhm.
the setup and the UI elements, the ability of drag and dropping, and or even the
You
ability of drag and just put full window. That's just to
you've
me
been
all of
playing with
those.
them more recently. Have they enabled a mode where you can just activate Dex on a tab, like,
Mhm.
as the main part of the screen? You don't have to plug it into anything else. You can just go Dex mode
Yeah,
on a Samsung tab.
it's
Because that, to
been
me, takes the idea of a tablet, again, another step above what I like about iPad OS.
so
Yeah,
here
see
is
this
that's normal
this
UI and
okay, that makes me really happy to see.
well,
Now,
give it a second for it to finish, but yeah.
yeah.
So here's
No,
Dex.
I got you, I got you. I believed you. I believed you at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah.
So
And
so
if you don't want Dex, if you wanted to run Dex on the separate screen, so essentially, if you plug in an external monitor to it, which I did with
you
the next
it'll
dock,
send it over. Yeah.
absolutely, Dex runs on the second display, and you still have regular Android OS on the main. So yes, that was definitely. Sorry, I'm fumbling here because it has water on the back of it. Uh,
Gross.
it's a waterproof casing, so I use it as my coaster because I don't want to have my cup sitting all over the place. Anyways, sorry, little secret here. But yeah, it's one of those things when you connect an external display, you can totally multitask with the desktop experience and an Android experience. So I like that function, having Dex fully integrated into at least on the Tab S7 Plus, which I felt like one of the
Mhm.
reasons why I jumped into it. But I find that like 90% of the standard, like the average tablet that you find that is Android related, it's generally underpowered and more so
Oh,
just
yeah.
set up to be more for
Well,
media consumption.
I'm racking
Uh,
my brain.
yeah.
Outside Samsung,
Hmm.
who else is selling a tablet near the power profile of a Snapdragon 855? Because I
Nobody.
can't
Not.
think of
I can't. Not one. No.
I can think of lots of, like, MediaTek's and mid-ranger
So I
current.
take that back. So
And
I want to say Huawei was trying to push the limit with their tablets, with their MatePad, but I don't think they've been releasing them in the last. I think at least in the last couple of years, I
the
haven't seen a
last
new one.
MatePad that really made it out was their mid-ranger, Kieran.
Yeah, and it was a lower, but it was still slightly more powerful than some of the.
Yeah, it's a
Uh,
very good tablet, and it was a very
Absolutely
well-priced
for
tablet.
immediate,
But
yeah, for media consumption. And I mean, I still use it. I still have it. My son uses it as his tablet. It was more, that was the last one that I felt like was close. But since then, it's been Samsung with their ultra high level tablet. Which, don't get me wrong, it's a very
they're
capable
great.
tablet, which and it does actually work. But
Again, where I'm kind of persnickety about like where Samsung has gone over the last year, I'm
mm,
still very much more positive on the tabs than I am like on the S series phones.
yeah,
So
let's not
again,
get
I'm
into the.
being contrarian, dude, again, but like where you've got a slate that you can do more with it, I am more impressed with a direct one-to-one let's use Dex on a larger screen,
Hmm.
just like I'm more impressed with iPad OS giving us better multitasking, and
Hmm.
just where I get excited about Duo kind of blurring the lines between Android and iPad OS and little hints of Windows
Hmm.
all in the
In
same
a single, yeah, form
pocketable
factor,
slate.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Continuum. If we had still the Microsoft Continuum
Oh
as an
man.
option to this, they would totally. I mean, the
So
855 could
good.
totally handle it. There's a
Oh,
lot of things I
easy.
like about it, and it's so if it's 699 brand new, can you only imagine how much would it be on Swappa? I mean,
Well, again, I'm holding on to this and I'm writing it out because I bought it at launch. So there's no way I'm flipping this for any value. This is just going to be a museum piece for me, but 845s. So okay, I pulled out my Nokia 9 again just to catch up with all
mhm,
of the monthly security patches and I am toying with doing like one last kind of end of life video for the Nokia 9. I like bringing it out from time to time. Outside of a couple games, there is so little that slows down that phone. That 845, the super streamlined kind of stock Android, the Android
mhm,
1 build of Android, it is
mhm.
just lean and snappy and quick, and it's beautiful. It's just a beautifully built phone. And stepping up to the 855, it's everything that frustrated me about the early commentary on this is almost nothing is taxing the 855. The 865 is more powerful, but there are smaller and smaller opportunities to really use
The
all
full
of that
potential.
power.
Oh, exactly.
And then I get to the 888, and there are times where this lowly 855 is hanging in there because it handles thermal throttling better than
It's
the 880.
thermal is a big factor. I mean, I think, and this is going to be a very big. I with a we did it with only a few manufacturers that have actually paid really close attention to thermal temp management and try to heat dissipate. Gaming phones have tried to do it, and even there, I feel like there's a certain limitation into
Varying
what you
degrees of
can.
success. Yeah.
Yeah, very much. I mean, and I think with Red Magic had a very good approach to it with the built-in
Mhm.
fan, but even then, there are certain games like Undead Horde still stutters on Red Magic 6, and I'm like, seriously? And I
And that's
wasn't
a
even
game on an
running.
855 that plays great.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying is I didn't even have that many. I mean, maybe 10 to 12, and I was trying to, maneuver, try to go around. I mean, I got kicked a couple of times, but I installed the game just to obviously see if having that built-in fan, having that, dual cooler option that we had. It depends on the titles, but it truly does come down to the 850, sorry, the 888. And I feel like I'm not sure if there was going to be maybe some improvements if they do end up pushing out an 888 plus, maybe with better thermal concerns or approach to it. We don't, obviously we'll have to see how it comes
You
out
know, I,
later in the
I'm
year.
I'm telling you, I think we need a generation of holding steady
Hmm.
and getting fabrication, maybe maybe improve fabrication improvements. I, I'm worried about big core. The
The
865
main
didn't
core, yeah.
have big core; they just had one performance core.
Hmm.
But it was still what is it? Cortex A77.
Yeah.
Still same tier. It wasn't this
Hmm.
Cortex is X1 is that what they're calling it?
think the new one, yeah.
So I think we need one generation where I would love for Qualcomm to come out and say, we've made these improvements, we've improved on this fabrication. Maybe we've even done a die shrink. You know, maybe
Yeah,
we've gone down a size in fabrication, but we're holding at the same performance level
that would be the right level.
with the
Yeah.
expectation of battery improvements and power management improvements
And
and
thermal
thermal
and thermal management. I
improvements.
think that's the yeah, and I think when I was trying to say it wasn't necessarily more on the overclocking portion of it, which is typically what we get with the pluses. I was more thinking about what if we have to kind of like maybe look at the history wise a little bit, the A10 and the A10 Plus or the A10A, I think was it, or the A10B, I think they put in a letter on it. So they
They
Qualcomm
had to
did
put a
try.
letter on it.
They had to know seriously because at the time
We did
they
something
didn't
different,
have.
guys. It's
Yeah, yeah,
different. It's
it's a better
better.
one. It's a better one. It's better. Trust us, it's better. This one doesn't warm up like it's you can't cook on this one. They were able to do some corrections, and I feel like I mean unfortunately the Nexus didn't really benefit from that because it was running the Google at the time decided to go with the A10, not the A10B or the
Right.
version that was fixed, but that would be my hope from the 860 from the 888 plus or whatever the next generation of it is. It's just that manufacturers right now, the approach to this chipset is we're going to stick to the way we've been doing things every year and we're just going to snap that chip in there because that's how it's been working and not addressing the fact that this is a slightly different chipset and understanding the thermal management that needs to be addressed in the structure of the smartphone with
Oh yeah.
which plays a big factor into people that want to enjoy these smartphones like flagship smartphones for an extended amount of time other than that quick in and out kind of 5-10 minute kind of thing. But if you want to seriously want to play some games, and I can, like I said, for me gaming on a smartphone is literally 2 to 3 hours. I don't want to sit there for 30 minutes and then have to put the phone down because it got too hot. This $260 phone running a MediaTek G95 hung in there for an hour and a half and it didn't
Mhm.
even turn on hot. There's like, don't get me wrong, obviously this is not flagship grade. This is definitely more
Right.
7 series equivalent, but
But that 7 series, I was so okay, there's a hard cap on the OnePlus 9, right?
mhm,
They've got a
yeah.
GPU limit. I don't know of any games that out of the box actually oh, by the way, Adam's going to bed. I think we already missed him, but have a good
Oh,
night, Adam. And Tech Lovin'
yeah.
Mama is saying hey to everybody with heart eyes and a big wave. So everyone say hey to Tech Lovin' Mama.
Tech loving mamas
Um,
in there. Adam, hope you have a good evening, man. I realize East Coast time and stuff. But
but
yeah, no, definitely.
I've just been playing way too much Dead Cells. Like I don't have a lot of time to game, so I'm playing in short spurts. And like I said, it's actually like saving my game progress between different phones. And I kind of came to this conclusion like I've got a Velvet in a dual display case,
Mhm.
and my Velvet can run Dead Cells at around 60 frames per second. My OnePlus 9 is capped at 60 frames per second, but on my Velvet, I can play Dead Cells at around 60 frames per second and watch someone else's YouTube
Video.
stream at the same time, or fire up a documentary and watch a movie at the same time. I mean, like it's a bad habit to get into, like always having that level of stimulation. But I feel like
That the game
that's
you're on is not entertaining enough.
that's
I
silly
gotta
that
watch podcasts and everything. Yeah.
last year's mid-ranger option with
Oh
this
man,
dual display
absolutely.
experiment
7
is
series
playing
last year's.
is
Yep.
playing the game just as well,
Hmm.
and it's running cooler. It's
Yep.
not as hot in my hands.
It gets warm. Yeah, I do want to say that. When I say that a phone is when you play like a couple hours of video games on them, and I'm saying they don't get hot. I mean the temperatures by comparison to what you would get from an 888. I mean seriously, we're talking like 100 and something, 117 on a phone is just not sustainable. The
Yeah.
phone throttles down tremendously and it just you can't hold it. Try to play games for that much time with your finger on the display and the heat is sitting on that level right there because it
Yeah.
doesn't just permeate heat from the back, right? You get some of that heat in the front, your thumb starts feeling it. It's like it becomes kind of it's not the right approach. um but I mean seriously though, for the 459 for the Note 10 Pro from Infinix, which was a very new brand. I mean, I heard about them when the Hot 10, I want to say, like about a couple of weeks ago or so. They reached out, and I wasn't able to get into that during that time with the Hot series. Um, and I get it. The names are definitely interesting, um, but the product itself actually does have its own it holds its own. I was actually quite surprised with the fact that this G95, this Helio G95, not even a Dimensity chipset,
Yeah.
right? 4K 30 on the front facing camera,
It
4K
shoots
30 on the back.
4K?
It shoots
Wait a minute. Hold
4K.
on. I've got a OnePlus 9 Pro here, and I like this OnePlus 9 Pro. Let
I
me
like
fire
the
up the selfie camera.
and tell me how buttery smooth that
Video.
1080p 60 is.
And no, yeah, it's still
No,
1080 60 or 1080
Xiaomi
30.
Xiaomi Mi
Oh, it can do
11.
60. That's right.
Yeah,
It does
no, no,
1080.
1080p 60. I think this 2021's advancement in other non-Samsung devices. Um, Seriously, no, no, the Mi 11 Ultra, the best of the best of the best that Xiaomi has to offer, and I love the cameras on the back. Even pushed out a whole video on using the GN2 sensor on the back, the main
Mhm.
primary shooter on there, and 4K 60 on all three lenses on the back, 8K 24 on all three lenses in the back. Everything's beautiful. Flip to the front, 1080p 60. I'm like, what is this arbitrary functional limitation that we put on the front that we can only be buttery
I'm
smooth
pretty
on
sure
1080?
the LG Wing did 4K 60 on
The
this.
wing, I want to say the wing did, but not the Velvet. But and I
No,
know
no, no,
obviously
no.
the
The Velvet was 30 frame capped, so you couldn't even do 60 4K 60 from the back camera.
But what I was going to say is
And
the V60 did 4K 60 on the front,
oh yeah.
did 4K 60 on. So there, we know. So it's been my literally my number one thing. If you watch like 90% of my videos when I'm doing the initial the TK Essentials slash version of those, it's always been I wish we could get it. I wish we can get it in an update. Last year, OnePlus gave me a glimpse of hope with Nord because Nord did have 4K on the front, so I know they could do it.
Oh, messed
but
up.
but that was it. It was like this. It was a straight line of 1080p, 30p, 1080p, 30, and then beep,
4K and
1080p,
then
and then in 2021 we go slightly above 1080 60, baby. So you know what I mean. So don't get me wrong.
it's so weird.
It's one of those things. Like I feel like we should be at 4K now on all of our extent lenses when we're talking about devices that are in that market. But for a
But no,
$260 phone to
I
shoot
want to pivot.
4K,
I want to pivot proper to this here. So
yeah.
this is a phone that what are we saying? It's kind of in that tier of competition against like an N10
Close to the
or
N10. I think
like
it's
a
around the
TCL somewhere in there.
it. Yeah, I mean, comparably to a 730 for the processor, it has 8 gigs of RAM, runs Android 11, right? It is a custom OS called XOS from Infinix, heavily skinned, heavily customized. I mean, the UI elements are very um I'll say there's a little bit more advertising necessarily in this built into it, like kind of like the approach to it. Like if you
Mhm.
swipe up to the app drawer and then you swipe down, assuming that the app drawer is going to close, it doesn't actually close. It opens up a little bit of a tab to find the right wallpaper and recommended gaming apps to be able to check
Gotcha.
out. And so
Those
there are
little
some subsidy.
insertions.
Yeah, subtle insertions that you just like, oh, how do I get rid of this kind of thing? You can't turn it off, but being with it for about a week now, I appreciated some of the functions they added. Like there's that privacy mode, which I think I saw it on some other devices in the past
Mhm.
where it puts a little banner, or my like you can customize a certain window banner on your phone, and then you can black out the rest of your phone, right?
Yeah. I loved that feature on BlackBerry.
So okay, so that's where I saw. Okay, sorry, because I couldn't remember. Like I know that feature wasn't brand new. I've seen it on other smartphones. So
Oh yeah,
as a
key
feature,
2, you can turn it into like this tiny strip. So as you're reading through like documents, I've got my legal
oh,
briefs
it
and I
was on
don't
the
want
key.
someone
That's what it was.
taking
It was on the key. Yes, 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 yes. So here, what I mean like this is like this. Can you like here,
adorable. I love it.
like here? I want to be so chill. This is how much I'm going to show on my
Yeah.
screen. I'd be like, I am reading one line at a time. I'm going to scroll. No, yeah. But so
Take that, corporate espionage people.
exactly. Stop looking at my phone, buddy. No. So what I mean to say is like, so here's the app drawer, right? If I swipe down, which I would expect to take the app drawer away,
Ah,
I now
yeah.
have this, which is a little bit of that top games and featured wallpapers.
Yeah.
That's just, and then so I'd have to then swipe up again. So there's those extra little features. Swiping to the left, you have their personal news feed, and then the other thing that kind of got me is so if you swipe down from the top here, you get a custom search UI element
Oh, yeah.
that
Okay.
is based on their own. Like this is like here, hot searches on the internet, hashtag mask off, hashtag ask top, Dwight, SVU, like That's why would I want that in my launcher? Why are these search recommendation? And then if you do end up searching for something, it does end up just doing a straight Google search.
Okay.
So put that aside. Realistically, if you're looking into it, I think I would say I was surprised with what it was able to offer. It has a large battery, headphone jack, stereo speakers, and a gimmicky, although it does actually improve the audio,
Oh yeah,
boombox.
I saw that.
I was,
Again, it's you were showing that
it's
off
just,
last week, but
I,
it's amazing what a little acoustic modeling.
but no, but it's such an ingenious, like seriously, like if for smartphones that do end up having the bottom firing speaker facing away, right? I feel like this
Mhm.
is a true, like a must have. I think I should just do a video on the dock alone, just to kind of like, hey, do you want to improve the audio on your phone? Buy this. It's really nice. Uh, but it's machined very nicely. I think the pizza with the way they did it was very good. So I did demonstrate that just to show that they included it. I don't know if it's going to come with the retail package or not, but if you're thinking of it, it's yeah, exactly. It's like a passive boombox, exactly. And the moment I saw that, I remembered obviously LG and boombox. Remember, like the thing they would tell you to do is to put your LG phone on top of the cover for the phone on the table, right? And
Mhm.
like you suddenly, it just transformed the whole experience.
Yeah.
And it was like, what am I listening to? And I did that one time to my wife, and I said, "Honey, check it out. Can you hear it?" It's like, "Hey, man, yeah, it's a little faint. Check this out. Put it on the table."
Punk.
Like, what happened
Whoa.
there? Uh,
I miss Boombox. That was
yeah,
such a
Boombox was like I said. So when I saw that, I feel like Infinix definitely learned. We have a plethora of sensors on the back, but I feel like the 64 is is the star. It's the one that performs the best. Uh,
Mhm.
but again, seriously, 4K 30 on the front was to me like at 200 and what? So short answer, it definitely has a lot of merit on it. I feel like it's something that if you're considering it for the price point, like around an N10 type of an experience, it could definitely hold its own. It has 8 gigs of RAM, runs very, very smooth. Android 11 runs on it very nicely. And I did receive, I think, one update. But
Oh, nice.
overall, great for media consumption. I think that's the best way I would say. Not the best cameras, but they'll do just fine for your average taking pictures here and there. Slightly oversaturated sometimes, and I feel like the autofocus may not be as best. But
Oh, that 64, I mean, because what? That was the same sensor that TCL used for the TCL 10 Pro?
mhm.
I wanna
But
say it was the same sensor. It's that sensor, I don't know what companies do to it, but the way that it pixel bins, whatever the sort of generic firmware for that hardware is, just
mhm,
comes out, like, ridiculously shadow lifted. I do not think it looks good, and I think the only company that actually tried to back it off was LG.
mhm.
And
Oh
even they
yeah,
didn't get it right on the V60 at launch. Like, it took it 2 updates on the V60 before the OIS was cooking
oh
and
yeah.
that the HDR settings weren't, like, stupid
Mm.
bright, like, hyper bright. So, it's really easy to fall into that trap of, like, "Oh, well, we can make this juicy, or we can use this to make the HDR pop," and you're like, it doesn't look like you think it does. It doesn't
No,
look good."
but overall, I think it still was able to generate decent pictures. I think that was, like I said, it's not like a super bad camera. It just, uh, I would probably say the N10 was a little bit better on the camera for me than I felt like this one was. But for the 260, if you're looking for it, you're not going to be disappointed. It's actually going to surprise you. And I said
I
that I
mean,
think at the end of the
that
video.
was like Coolpad territory, if you
Yeah, yeah,
remember
yeah,
those phones. Like,
yeah. No, no,
it's
exactly.
shocking how over, like, 2 years, how aggressively this market has evolved.
I had a chance to sit down with the team from Coolpad back last year at CES, when they were talking about releasing their first 5G phone. But not 2021 obviously, but 2020 2020 at CES back when that was the last show. Actually, no, not the last one. This one right before Samsung. I got a chance to go to Samsung's there, but so either way, yeah, the Infinix 10 Note 10 Pro, very much it was a surprise. Like I said, it's weird how a budget friendly phone surprises me more than a flagship. It just to me, I don't know why. Like
Well,
I don't know.
I no, but I'm serious, like, don't you feel like I feel like there are these conversations that we kinda need to have in the tech community, and when people are talking about, like, specs, like,
Mhm,
"Oh, it doesn't have OIS," or, "Oh, you need this top of the line processor." And I'm like, "But why?" And I'm finding, like, it's more and more of a struggle to get people to tell me why.
Hmm.
And so I feel like people start thinking in this very binary win or fail kind of
Oh,
mode, but the conversation should really look like a bell curve
oh yeah.
where it's like, if you're at the peak of the bell curve, the stuff that everyone needs to do on their phones,
Should be
that
massive.
experience is covered at $100.
Hmm.
Like that main core middle section of the bell curve. And the only reason why you would spend more is you start expanding usage out to the narrowing and lesser used features. And so like by the time you get to $1,000 and above, you're at like the barest little corner sliver of the ends of the bell curve for what that phone is going to do better than
Hmm.
a phone in the middle
Which should be a
of the bell curve.
and I think that's the reason. The other thing I was more intrigued about trying out the brand itself, as I haven't had a chance to play with it. I haven't. I mean, I've seen other mid rangers. I've seen obviously Xiaomi, Pocos, and so on.
Mhm.
And the Infinix. I think I saw a video from Etabong on E from
Yeah.
Board at Work.
Yeah, I saw his
Um,
first.
which, by the way, if you're watching E, congratulations. I don't know if you saw the post. I think he proposed, if I'm not mistaken, and he put a ring on it. So definitely,
Finally.
No, I've known both of them for a while. So got a chance to meet the missus back in San Diego. I think it was a couple of years ago during
Mhm.
it was actually a MediaTek event. Speaking of the G95, so yeah, it was definitely very nice, very nice surprise to see that. It was always nice to. So congrats again. And also congrats to Josh Quinones on the new baby as well. A couple of
Yeah.
days ago, that was a massive. We were playing Call of
Oh,
Duty, dude, the
BBQ.
day before. We were playing a game. If Matt is in the chat, totally there. So Matt, and I, and Val were in the chat, and we were talking. And like after the show, and he was like, "Dude, I gotta go. I got we're getting a baby tomorrow." I'm like, "What?"
And you're either like, yeah, you do need to go.
But you're going to be on the stream tomorrow, right?
Right.
That's what I totally wanted to say. It's
Priorities,
like
man.
I'll be like,
Priorities.
dude, so you'll be on at 5, or is it 5:30 then? Right? Just a little. No, okay. Congrats to Josh again, number 3 on there. Gotta miss it. Yeah, Aditya, of course, and everybody in the chat. So it's been some nice little tidbits of news. I think like happy news going on this week.
Yeah, some
You
good
know,
life stuff.
a little bit, yeah, no, definitely. And you know what, just we need some just a little bit more nicer kind of things. So end of Ramadan for me was although a little bit of it's yeah, people may assume that when you're thinking at the end of Ramadan is like, well, you're back to eating and all of that, and I'm like, it's a little bit bittersweet kind of thing, because I kind of, you know I got
Because you've been
used to the
drinking lots of bitters and you've
and
been eating
and I've
lots
been
of
eating
sweets.
actually a lot of sweets. So it
Good for
dude,
you.
I started really good at the beginning of the month, and I was like, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be, and seriously, by like mid month to the end, every night we had a different Arabic dessert coming in. I mean, and my
You
mom it wasn't helpful at all. She like drives by, drops off, and leaves.
drive by deserting.
Drive by,
Eat it.
seriously.
Shove
She'll
it
be
in
like,
your pie hole. It's a
she's like,
pie.
I'm at the door, I'm dropping it off. Thank you, bye, and leaves. And then I discovered this one place called Kanefi Queens in Rancho Cucamonga, I think is close to somewhere around there, that area.
Mhm.
And they ship out these super, super, really delicious kanefes, which is like a Lebanese dessert. We eat it for breakfast. I don't know why. Uh,
That's okay. You got people out there
it,
just
it,
like smearing Nutella on toast. I mean,
oh,
dessert
dude,
food is breakfast food. It's fine.
it absolutely. And if you've ever had a chance, if you ever hear the word kanefe, you just have to try it. It's smothered with sugar water, syrup, stuff like that in it. So anyways, so we tried them out, and then we brought it with the family. So we've been having different things, and I even had some butter pecan ice cream right before the show. Uh,
That's great. No, I'm glad
so
because I mean it's funny because we there are sort of traditions. I don't know that anyone really cares, but I'm pretty atheistic at this time in my life. But there are these kind of patterns and behaviors and traditions that we hold to, and it's just funny to me that like this process that you're describing sounds an awful lot like intermittent fasting to
oh,
me. Like It's
dude.
like
It
we
is for
keep
the most. It totally is. If you, it's
like
actually
meal
OMAD.
planning used to just
The
be
OMAD diet. If you think of it as one meal a day,
yeah.
that's the same thing.
But like how people do like meal planning, right?
Hmm.
I'm gonna make like a big batch of something and freeze it in individual containers, and you're like, my mom was doing that when we just called it leftovers. Like it's funny how we kind of put these spins on things that are kind of like more traditional behaviors that we kind of take for granted. But again, it's
Dang it,
get to the
Michael's
end of that
getting.
and
Yeah,
it's an
no,
accomplishment.
German chocolates, man. Don't get me started, Michael. Oh my God. I've had some really good German chocolate. Don't
Pizza,
come my
bit the sweets.
bit that sweet. Oh man. No, it's like I said, as happy as I am with being able to go spend some time with the family, celebrating it, and so on, and it's really nice. I am going to miss it, and obviously, hopefully next year we'll be able to make it to another one. Um, it is definitely a very it's a very spiritual. The only way I can explain it is, it helps you focus on things outside of food. It helps you focus on mental
Yeah.
discipline, the ability of being able to basically just do your things and realize that, as you go day by day, you really need to focus on yourself and just take some time and just take it easy, kind of thing. um and I appreciated it. After a while, it was like I said, after 30 days, when you do it, it becomes a habit. Anything you do for more than 2 weeks becomes part of your daily kind of thing, right? So this morning I woke up, had my cup of coffee, and I didn't even eat till like 2 because I forgot.
Yeah, right.
Because in my no, seriously, because we didn't get a chance to go see the family or anything like that, because
Right.
the weekend stuff like that work. So for me, I'm still technically kind of doing it. So, uh, but it was definitely nice. My son and I had lunch together, late lunch for me, but it was like, yeah, it was good. Uh, and then we get a chance to hang out. So this is again one of those things I really appreciate. Being able to have a show on the middle of the week, kind of roughly, for us to kind of recoup on and just talk about things, have our friends hang out with us. Uh, uh, it's Aditya. If you check, I think it's Edabong's Twitter, Instagram. You'll see a
Mhm.
picture of a lady with a very beautiful ring on it. I think that's that's. I want to
Ring
say it's
on her,
on
he put
her.
a ring on it. That's, I believe, the terminology we're
Yes,
trying
he
to use.
gave her the ring and put it on her finger, on it. I don't know.
We're
It
already
was
in trouble.
I'm
This isn't
yeah,
gonna
I
be
have a
good
feeling
for
I'm
us
going to
if
be
we
getting
keep
a text from
digging.
Edabong in about 5 minutes right now. He's like,
Bro,
TK, what are we talking about, man?
bro.
Seriously, it was supposed to be. No, I'm just kidding. um no, definitely both very, very nice, very friendly, and E over the years been a great friend. And as
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, you guys been, you know him a lot longer than I have, even. But yeah,
He's
no,
good people.
absolutely, absolutely. If that's one of those things I really miss about going to, the East Coast and so on, like, running into him or just hanging out with everybody, Saf and everybody else as well. So, la pizza de résistance.
Well, and Jeff was spot on. You're like, you order a pizza and you just put each slice into its own individual container. Meal prep. Like, yeah,
I
I
like
know
the
that
speech
feel.
with. Well,
It's good.
I think meal prep, it is a great way, but I think the one thing I probably would miss the most is the fact that I could eat whatever I wanted and it didn't affect my weight.
Yeah.
I wasn't even
I'm
exercising. That was
I'm
like the coolest
definitely
thing.
still a bit soft. I mean, if it weren't for this move coming up, I need to move on, like, setting up that little I just need to make, like, a new channel on the Discord and make, like, a little fitness club in there, and, I know, I mean, like, Dave Burns has been in there, like, sharing
Juan's
his daily
Peloton. I mean,
stats
sorry,
and
not
stuff.
Peloton. Juan's Peloton. Welcome to the chat. Today we're going to be talking tech and running. No, I do. Yeah,
And
no,
then
I.
it fails on me while I'm doing the stream because I didn't make my treadmill a part of the recall.
Dude. Yeah, actually, it's been a whole bunch of things going on with Peloton treadmills. That is very.
It's less
Uh,
fun.
it is. It is. It is. But I think overall, hopefully next week, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's Google I/O.
Yep.
Um, and because we were talking about Android 12 and so on, I think we're gonna probably see the first beta drop next week, which I'm actually also very intrigued to see how that goes. And if OnePlus is true to their timing, which they typically are, the last couple of years,
Mhm.
we should be seeing first alpha of OnePlus 12, OnePlus Oxygen OS 12. So that I'm also interested to see if they're going to go with any UI element changes again, as drastic as 11 was, because we all
Yeah.
understand as from 10 to 11 it was a very big move. They became more
I'm thinking
one-handed
that this is
focused.
this is gonna be another, I mean, because like for Android in general, 10 to 11 was a lot of under the hood stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
And not to say that things didn't change and there weren't some refinements to like notifications, but I think for
Hmm.
a lot of folks, they'd be hard pressed once manufacturers start putting their own spins on, sort of crafting UI elements. You
Hmm.
put two phones in their hands and one's on Android 10 and the other's on Android 11, they'd have a hard time really identifying
It's
which was
almost
which.
it with if OnePlus didn't do the massive UI element changes that they did within their settings tabs and so on. I honestly think don't most people would not have even noticed. This is why most people don't realize what version of Android they have on their smartphones.
Yeah.
It is the whole skin. Like I mean, the Infinix is running XOS, or the I think it's called Dolphin in somewhere. They have a code named Dolphin in the software version, which I was kind of surprised. That's a code name for another. I think it was a Pixel, if I wasn't mistaken, a few years back. Um, but they do so much skinning, so much put
Mhm.
into it that it changes things. But I'm hoping that there's certain touch elements that we see with Android 12, at least with the alphas that we've seen or the developer
Mhm.
previews, especially that theming. I really liked the theming function within the notification panel, changing
Yeah.
colors to match whatever app you were in. That little touch to me was very nice. Uh, some of the other things we'll have to see what sticks and what doesn't. I mean, Google can literally change things. Oh, speaking of which, have you seen those supposed leaks or renders of what the new Pixel 6 is going to look like?
Yeah, I was kinda digging it. It's got, like,
I
the weird visor
I was gonna
bulge,
say, yeah, but I didn't understand why would
like
it have a
Cyclops
bulge
from the
though.
X-Men.
I was thinking, was it Jordy from?
Oh, yeah, LaForge.
Yeah, right. Didn't it, the
Yeah,
first thing when I saw that, I'd like Jordy's
it's
coming
a
to the
visor.
show. Yeah, yeah.
So here's the deal. I mean, if we're dedicating more depth to camera housing, then this
Mhm.
should be the first Pixel we'll see that migrates off of the 1/2.55 inch 12 megapixel sensor that they've been using since the Pixel 2.
That's been a while. Yeah,
Yeah,
and we probably that's the other thing. We probably also will start hearing about the Pixel 5a,
yeah.
but
So
the
I mean,
design.
I'm
Yeah.
expecting Pixel 5a to actually make it out. Like it will be out and available relatively
I'm
soon because we already
I'm
had sort of
imagining.
the confirmation on that when everyone was saying that Pixel 5a was dead and Google had to say, "No, don't stop that."
I think they were troll. No, no, I really think people were trying to troll Google because we've seen them in the past where they kind of come out and start, like leaking their own stuff as opposed to just kind of like, um, there's a good chance if it's any with any luck, if within the last couple of years, I think, no, not the couple of years, 2 years ago, they did that with the Pixel 3a. The 4a was a delayed release. They didn't. It was
Mhm.
announced and released later, but the 3a, it was available the same day
Yeah.
as the announcement. I was at I/O. No, I wasn't actually at I. Well, no, wait, I was at I/O, and I think you went down to Best Buy and picked it up for like $100 off or something like that, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
found it
yeah.
stupid sales. It was like, "Hey, I
I,
got a
I was
Pixel."
looking online. I'm thinking, are you serious? People have it already, and I'm
Right.
gonna be here till what time again? When am I gonna get?
Ah!
TK's like sitting like, okay, I got to do something. I got to do something now.
Right.
I
I
would
forget
love
what
to be
what
able to.
what console launch it was. I wanna say it was like, was it a console launch?
No, no.
Trying
It was.
No, 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 I'm sorry. This is another
Oh,
older
a separate
anecdote,
thing.
but
Okay,
but
yeah,
I
yeah.
just remember that there was, like, there was some event that I went to, and it was for I can't remember. I wanna say it was a console now, but, like, there were lines around a GameStop, and
Mhm.
people were waiting to get this new thing from GameStop. My wife and I just needed to pick up, like, some groceries, and we go to a Walmart, and then right as you walk in the door at this Walmart, there's just this stack of the consoles, like, no one cares. So we just
I
grabbed one and
walked that.
we went and
So
checked out, and they were like all these
the
people with like pre-orders and stuff trying to make sure that they could get their hardware, and you're like, "We're good."
you're good.
And
Yeah,
that's kinda how I
no.
felt about Pixel is like, "Oh, no, I can just
Package.
have one.
I already got
Okay,
it. It's
thanks."
there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, and it's $100 off. No, the reason I had a very similar story to at the Best Buy in Woodland Hills back when I used to live in that area. Um, it was around the Xbox 360 at launch.
Mm,
There were lines and lines and lines everywhere,
yeah.
people going in wanting to get them. I woke up at 7, or no, woke up at 6, got out, got in my car, told my wife, I'm just going to try to see if I can get one. Went over to the Best Buy, got in, they opened up at 8, picked one up and walked out. I'm like, huh?
Hmm.
What? I mean, that doesn't happen now. Obviously, now you need to camp like days in advance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you want a GPU like a retail price, yeah. And oh, by the way, for everybody in the chat, you'd be happy to know I did not end up pursuing that $1,000 art 3090
Yes,
team.
that would have been bad for you, I feel.
No, no, totally. But
Very enticing. I totally
very,
understand why you
I
were gunning for
it
it,
was
but
too good to be true, and I had to kind of get that the reality check. But I have been playing the what's it called, the New X Shuffle. I don't know if you guys have, if anybody's aware of
yeah,
the New X Shuffle. So I got on
we have a
that.
few folks. I know, like, Paul on the
Uh
Discord was running that pretty hard, and we would always hear his, like, "And sadly,
huh.
again, I
I
did
was
not
not like
win
that same
the
thing.
Newick Shuffle."
Fourth day in a row, I get built up,
Come
built up, built up. I
on!
go in there. No, because they haven't had it. So I've been trying to get they have
Gary
what's
said,
it
"That was a catfish, dude."
the whole time. It is. It was a for sure. And then Craigslist is just full of weird, like
It's
sketchy
just full
things
of
there.
weird.
Yeah, no, it is.
The
It is.
period goes right there.
I just I ran out of options realistically. You could never find them. Today, for the first split second, I saw that Best Buy had the 3090 for in stock for like literally a split second. I hit
Mhm.
add and it was already gone.
Yep.
I was like, so yeah, I'm gonna keep trying. I got my motherboard back for everybody in the chat. I finally got my motherboard. Gigabyte finally sent it back. They were able to fix the BIOS, but
Good.
still took them about 3 weeks to fix that. So now I'm a little bit debating, should I box up the motherboard that I just bought from Amazon and return it and go back to the Wi-Fi, or do I want to basically stick with this and maybe build a system around that for my son? And I think I may end up just doing that. I still have the 1800X, which is very, very powerful
Oh,
for
yeah.
what I
Well,
need for it.
and again, you're gonna be on the hunt for a GPU, but
So
with what you already have, even if you have to overbuy
mhm.
on a good, like, lower mid-range GPU, I think you'd still be in better shape putting together a nice, consistent system for him, and then he'd have his own
It'll be
base.
his own exactly. And I think Chrome OS has served us well, but I feel like I also want to build up something that um,
He's getting
he's
old enough too. I mean, I'm sure he's kinda outgrowing what.
yeah, for what Chrome, I mean, Chrome OS is, I feel like I like Chrome OS to a certain level. And because of school, it works for what they want to do. Google Classroom, Web and not WebEx, Google Meets, because everything is like at schools, they're like heavily into the Google ecosystem. It does well, but then with summer coming along, I want him to be able to enjoy a little bit more, and I'm also kind of going to get him into playing Fortnite on a PC a little bit better, just to appreciate the higher. I
Mhm.
have him on a gaming monitor connected to the Chromebook, and I feel like he's not utilizing the full
Gotta be
frame.
raising him right.
I need him on 144, man. I need to get him up and running on 144. He's actually pretty good. Here, so Ted's saying I tried getting a 3090 for
For Paul.
yeah,
Yeah.
on Best Buy, but he blinked and Best Buy said psych.
Psych!
That's how I felt. It's seriously how I felt. It was total
And you burn.
coincidence. Uh, so yeah, no. If I'm not able to score a 3090 or something like that, I realize the 2080 would be overkill for what he wants to do. Um, yeah, for sure. I just feel like for me to not just for gaming purposes, but it also will improve my export timing for with Premiere and so on. The 3090 would benefit me where I can just basically give him the 2080, which I at that point I would feel like I'm not losing it out. So I
For sure.
kept the 1800X because I won that one off of Twitter context. I forgot what it is, and it's very nice. So very, very happy with that level of performance. But I was going to say, I didn't even get a chance to ask you at the beginning of the show so far. So on, do you have the best of your week? Is what do you think is like the best part of your week so far, or
Um,
this last since we last hung out?
so in terms of tech, it's been playing with mics.
Oh,
I've got it.
cool. You're
It's
back.
off on the side, and I can't really bring it out over here, but I've got the new Samson. Was it the I can't remember what the name of that silly mic is, but it's basically their SM7 killer. And so
Oh,
I'm going to be breaking that out for a while. It's a
nice.
very radio style mic, kind of a podcaster style mic. I'm
Hmm.
finally wrapping up the
Okay.
Mic Me Pocket, which is a sort of a Bluetooth hybrid portable recorder lavalier.
Oh.
Mic Me makes those real chunky, square, boxy mics, and so this
Hmm.
is their first lavalier mic. And
I
then
like it.
I'm kind of catching up on a few headphone. I mean, I've been saying this for a while, but like I got the Performance A80s out. I need to get the Pinnacle P1s out, and then I also need to spend some time with some volume controlled headphones that we've been letting Lex use. So they've
Oh,
got
okay.
like a
Like
hard
the
limiter.
I forgot the name of the one that we looked
They're
at
not
last
wireless,
year.
so these are very, very
No, no,
inexpensive.
wired. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah.
We looked at one last year. I think we you and I
Mhm.
talked about that. Talked about because I Omar still
Is
uses
this
it.
a Puro?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Pure.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
So
I have that one.
that's the gaming headset? Was that
Hmm.
the one that he was using? So, yeah,
Yeah,
those are great.
yeah.
A little bit more expensive than the tier we're playing at here.
Oh,
And so
okay.
these are from Me Audio, where they make some really budget conscious,
Hmm.
audio hardware, and they've got one that has this kind of hard switch volume limiter,
Hmm.
built into the cable. And again, it's also kinda interesting, like, they've tried to do it in a way where a kid wouldn't be able to flip it, but you'd also think, like, I'm sure they could figure it out, but okay, we'll go with that.
Well,
But yeah,
that
so
may
so
that
it's
may
it's
work to a
been
certain couple of minutes or so till they realize it. Yeah, no.
for sure, yeah, like literally tens of seconds. It will stall them for tens of seconds. But so in playing with some of that kind of stuff, I'm going through the same existential YouTube crisis of phone after phone after phone, review after review after review, and just trying to see like what other conversations we can be hosting. So, honestly, I mean, on top of just playing with that gear before I get those videos out, the thing I've been kind of most lit up this week is phone challenge
Oh,
2.
I saw you.
So
You talked about it on Monday. You showed that little clip, and yeah.
there are still a couple days left, and I've been looking at some of the intros that people have been shooting. So phone challenge 2 is actually being hosted on Technically Speaking.
Hmm.
That's Scott Peachy's YouTube channel, and he's hooking up a $75 gift card. I don't even
I
know
like
that.
it. By the way, I like the way he was approaching it. He's
Yeah,
like, I'm not even going to try to send anything. I'm just going to give him cash.
yeah.
I'm just going to go
I'm He's
straight to
too
the point.
lazy. He was
Yeah.
he was like he was trying to work some kind of like, well, maybe I could put together like a phone, like a what do you say, like a vlogger kit or something. He was like, nah, I'm
Nah.
just gonna give you money,
Put some
but
cash
you
in your
should buy
pocket.
something
Yeah.
that will be for
Yeah.
your phone, but it's just gonna be cash. So phone challenge 2 is you need to shoot, edit, and produce an intro video. So, like, you see on everybody's YouTube channels, they always have like a little splash screen or an intro that introduces their stuff,
Yep.
and you have to make your own. I think he put like a time limit on it, like it's like can't be over 15 seconds or something like that.
I think yeah. I
Um,
meant I think he wanted it to be short
oh yeah,
form, but
very very short.
more so just the fact of being done on the phone, all produced content and cut
Yeah.
and all of that. Yeah.
And so I think there are still a couple days left if you want to try and participate on that. But like I said, it's just like after doing podcast challenge.
Hmm.
I was just blown away by some of the audio that people sent me, and now this video challenge has been really fun to watch. So it's not a lot of pressure. It's not like shoot a whole video on your phone and do a whole bunch of really hard editing or anything like that or time consuming stuff. But already I've seen a number of people take this challenge in very creative directions. So I'd say that was probably my best of the week.
I
Like
like
that
that.
to me was the most fun. And we're gonna be wrapping that up soon,
Mhm.
announcing a winner. And then I don't know, man. Phone challenge June, I feel needs to have a TK bass spin on it.
Juno say, huh? I like it.
Juno
Mhm.
knows. I don't know that.
Juno no say, Ju no say. I'm like, yes, no, yeah, no, definitely. We need to bring back the phone challenge, and I feel like we have to kind of
I
go
think
back to our roots. When I
but
say
I
roots, I mean
think
Sherman Oaks on that table,
oh
and
yeah, no, no, no. I mean, you and me need to do like in person something, you know, like between the two. But I feel like you need to be
remember,
challenging.
mm,
I'm gonna rip the back off this phone. Want to take
bringing
his
new
face
features.
off.
Yeah, no,
But
yeah,
I
yeah.
think you need to host something on TK Bay's channel for
Hmm.
Phone Challenge 3.
For sure.
And we need to figure out what is it that we're going to encourage people to do with their phones that they might not think they could do with their phones.
I'm going to say it right now. Backflips. Oh, sorry. Wait,
Got to do a backflip on your phone.
on your phone. Land
Yeah.
on the
On the
phone.
phone. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Preferably like camera side up so we could see it and we could verify it.
preferably. Oh, obviously, yeah, because otherwise you don't get to see the footage, right? You
Right.
got to see the footage.
I don't well, and the thing is you could do selfie camera, but I don't want selfie camera. I want good video.
I want you to use the good sensor. I
Yeah.
want you to land on the
For
good
sure.
sensor, and I want to see the, the shattering effect, how you're going to blow our minds, and the lens at the same time.
Exactly.
But we'll have,
We're
we'll have
gonna
to,
have to talk offline here though. But
yeah.
I'm liking where this is going, and again, in contributing to a conversation where not
I
a
like
Tesla
this.
using only your phone.
That is a perfect challenge.
Can
Challenge
well
accepted. Suit
phone
up,
challenge 3? Can you hack TK's Tesla
Tesla, with your phone.
using only your phone?
Same with the. I love that Gary's jumping on that as well. Like, yes, let's do it. Do it now.
Do it.
Yeah, no. I actually, for sure, we're definitely gonna, we'll plan it out. Obviously, for me was mostly, I felt like I wanted to get through Ramadan, kind of get back to our
Oh
normal
yeah.
time. Which, speaking of which,
And Scott wasn't gonna let you have May.
yeah, so
I mean, I finished my first challenge in April, and he was just like, "Well, I'm going to do it." And
May the
and then he told me
Then he
he
was
was
like, he let you
gonna,
know he was going to do the challenge. You're like, Juan, you're not even.
he
I'm
was
way ahead of you, man.
he
I'm
was
a
full
step.
steam ahead. I got to say, I mean, like, I really wish more people were checking out Peachy's stuff because I
Dude,
really
Tony Stark
his
all the
stuff.
way, Mr. Peachy, man. Come on,
So
Tony's.
also what you need to keep in mind,
Yeah,
like start and again, just in the back of your brain, start thinking about is who are we going to start harassing for Phone Challenge July? Because I'd
I'm
really like this to spread and keep going. Like, let's see how far we can keep it going.
I'm gonna say Adam, but don't say anything.
Okay, he's asleep right now. That's why we're whispering.
It's exactly why I'm saying
Okay,
it at a very low voice.
everyone, kind of help us remember on this, and maybe lightly harass him tomorrow. Is that we're going to be looking at Adam for Phone Challenge
It's
July.
it's 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 the guy that leaves the meeting that gets all the
He
action
just got
items at the end
volunteered
of
to
it.
bring snacks for the next meeting.
Exactly, right? It's exactly how you set it up, right? You're like, and he wakes up tomorrow morning. He's like, "What? I'm doing where? What? You where? What's that?"
Huh?
Like, yep, July
I,
is your month, my
okay.
friend. Yeah,
I like Phone Challenge July. We'll keep Adam in our sights, and then we'll have to come up with someone as the backup in case
for
something goes down and he can't do Phone Challenge July.
for sure. No, no, definitely. For me though, I would probably say if there was one thing that kind of like was it was a nice little surprise because it's been a work in progress. Since I've had the Tesla for some time, um, I've seriously been going crazy buying accessories. Like, I don't know why. Like, I feel like you like the car, TK. So why did you have to buy so many? It's because that's the thing you do, though. Really. So I've been going cuckoo crazy with little things around the car on the inside. Adding little emblem
That's
colors and
fun though.
little trunk pieces in the back. I got reached out to by a company regarding possibly working on some replacement brake lights in the back with some
That's
really
cool.
cool animation. So I'm looking into that. It's just fun. It's fun playing it, and realistically, with the price of gas going up late in the last 10 days or so, I have been enjoying the fact that I can just drive my car, come back and charge it up, and not have to go to the gas station. I mean, my wife has
That's
to, but
good.
it's nice, especially because like 90% is in town. I'm not really going too far, and if I want to, I could. It just saves me from having to keep stopping at the gas stations and so on. So hopefully, um, we'll see how things go. But I felt like that was one of my more fun videos to do. Woke up Monday morning, went down to the charging station, shot a whole bunch of clips with the Mi 11 Ultra, and I'm waiting for the new update. There's a new the MIUI 12.5 coming out. That's going to bring in so much more functions added to the camera sensors on the back. So to me, those are the things I want to see. So I'm excited to see that. Frankie Tech If I don't know if he checks out our show or not, but I think he was talking about some of the new updates that they got in the Chinese version of it. So
Yeah. Well, and again, it's the same frustration where the Mi 11 Ultra is a very ambitious piece of hardware. The conversation on the Mi 11 Ultra is almost now dead on
mhm.
YouTube, and this is when the phone starts getting really good.
Yep, it's
And
when
this
you
is
get
where
all
it
those
needs
updates to
the
improve
most
all of them.
attention, because
Yeah.
anyone who was really on the hook, anyone who was really invested in it, who was really like following this Xiaomi experiment, is now reaping the benefits of some software updates and some patches and some bug fixes. And now
Mhm.
this is what the phone really resembles. But so much of the commentary is like the early, like, well, I took a couple photos out on my back porch and some of the details are a little blurry. And you're like, that's not what the phone is now.
It is definitely. I felt like I needed to bring back like the same thing. I feel like with bringing showcasing hardware, showcasing devices. I think, and I took that inspiration honestly from you when you did that video with the OnePlus 9 Pro. It really you should just do a video with the camera array, and but not just do it to test out the camera and take me to show pretty things and so on. Like seriously, do like a combination product review of two things together so that
Yeah.
you get that kind of nice fun experiment going on where yes, you're learning something new about a piece of tech that maybe you may not be very interested on, but it's still utilizing a piece of hardware that you love. Or if you're a Tesla fan, now you kind of, get the chance to see what a smartphone can produce, the level of clarity,
Mm-hmm.
the images, the depth. The Mi 11 Ultra for me was a very big surprise, and it's a very, very much a category on its own. It's not like the regular Mi 11s. It's not I don't really feel like it's a Mi 11. I think it's,
It's not
or
a Mi 11. It needs to be
it
something
needs
else.
yeah, it's seriously like an
It needs to
Ultra.
be
Like it
like,
should be
what is it,
Xiaomi
Mi Mix
Ultra.
or
Yeah,
something?
yeah, yeah, like a Mi Mix. Well, because I think they already had a Mi Mix Ultra last year, so I think they maybe the wording would have been because different, but uh, short way of saying it is I'm still very excited about that smartphone. I feel like Xiaomi has a very big win on this one. But a lot of people may not be talking. Like you said, it pretty much doesn't exist in the tech sphere right now. Nobody's talking about it because they've already moved on to the next version of insert XYZ into whatever. Um, so I felt like it was a way for me to showcase both pieces of hardware on both ends as I'm waiting for the 12.5 update. Um, and I'm still kind of working on the OnePlus Watch. It got a couple of updates, it's getting
Mhm.
better. So I'm going to hopefully push that out next week for the review because I feel like now at least I can speak to it with some of those features that they talked about at the launch event that we now have on the watch, as opposed
Mhm.
to just
Well,
push a
they weren't
review
on
with
launch, and so it's not worth talking about the watch ever again.
yeah, but that's so wrong though. Realistically, like to
I know.
review a
I mean, that's
watch.
why I'm doing my dumb, goofy
Oh no, no, no. I'm with
comment
I'm
voice,
sorry,
but
and then I'm totally with you on that. It was more about, and I made a point of it at the video at the time, and I said, look, this is me talking about the main features that we have right now, but understanding that there's a couple of updates that need to come in before we can actually truly talk about this as a standalone and how it actually performs. Um, the always on display is pretty nice, but here's a little bit of a teaser. Obviously, battery life takes a massive hit, uh,
mhm.
but you know what? You don't have to have it on if you don't want to. You could still have the benefit of both kind of experience. You can have the really long battery life, or you can have slightly
Oh,
shorter.
but Michael Pepper has your next video title.
Does Xiaomi wow me? Needs to be free.
I feel like you need to roll with that.
I think I need to
I
do
feel
that,
like
and I
Michael
need to
Pepper
talk
needs
about
like
the
a special
11
credit.
series and all of the. And I in the comments, I'm going to say thank you very much to Michael Pepper Tech for the heads up and for the inspiration of this video. Did Xiaomi wow me?
Wow me.
Oh my God, Xiaomi PR will be calling me in 2 seconds after that video goes live. Say, TK, what do you mean? Like, watch the video, see what happened. Actually, that's not a bad idea. I,
Yeah.
I, I no, that is actually a very good idea. Thank you, Michael, on that one. That will be a video next week. Did Xiaomi wow me?
That's a I
It's such a
see
good title there.
this
Oh
this
my
is a
God,
total win. Like
dude, Google gotta love that, right, man? Right, it's gonna be a hit.
for reals.
It'll be all over. No, for sure. Actually, no, I'm not kidding. No kidding aside. Actually, I do want to make that as well. Xiaomi, the money doesn't matter. I like that. His titles are getting. Um, it is one of those things. I have to say, a very different. Xiaomi has a very different approach this year and very aggressive approach. And I think with the recent development, I think if I don't know if I saw this somewhere where they were able to get themselves removed off that list and they're able to actually now truly compete in the market. So
Yeah.
they're gunning for number three for sure. They're
Well, they've already become the alt brand. Like
yeah.
OnePlus used to be the sweetheart brand. Everyone loved them, but then they betrayed tech enthusiasts. But now Xiaomi is the acceptable alternative to Samsung and Apple coverage. The timing is right because we're all thirsty. We're all so thirsty for some competition. And their approach to just shotgunning phone after phone after phone after phone after phone after phone is
It's
just
like the money gun,
nonstop
right?
novelty.
It's like
Yeah.
packed with phones. And you get a phone. You get a phone. It is one of those Xiaomi off. Oh my God, Michael. That last one. Okay, he's hitting us with some really good names. So okay, we have the Xiaomi Wow Me. That one's good. The next one was Xiaomi The Money Doesn't Matter. And the last one, video's titles like Xiaomi Off. The new Xiaomi Off. Um, we'll have to see. Yeah, for sure. And my thing would be is we've seen so many variations of the Mi 11. I'm just wondering is where could they go next? I mean, they've hit literally all of the different spectrum. At the end story, what I'm trying to kind of cap it off, I definitely will be making a video. This Xiaomi Wow Me, because I think it's one of those. It's one of those things a lot of people would want to watch. And I have enough Xiaomi devices that I think I can talk about it. I think I qualify. I have the hardware to be able to prove what I'm talking about, as opposed to just say that they're not good. I'm just kidding. They are. But yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. Xiaomi the way. Oh my God, Aditya is jumping into it. Okay, I got Aditya.
Well, I was gonna go Xiaomi the money. Just
Xiaomi
like Xiaomi the
the
money.
money. You got me at Xiaomi. I know.
You had me at Xiaomi.
Xiaomi.
I don't think that's a saying.
That
No,
is
maybe it is.
it
No, I'm
is
pretty sure it's not.
not Xiaomi the money. Tech love and mama's laughing. Oh my God. Yeah,
Well, I feel
that's
like
how
laughing at us would be the appropriate. That's the only appropriate response.
Jeff is not having it though. Jeff is like,
Not feeling it.
yeah, maybe not. Maybe not so. Um, I do have to say, it's been an interesting like
It's been
headphone
an
when you're talking about it. Yeah, it has definitely been an interesting, a lot of things changing, some good news, some interesting news. I'm looking forward to next week again to see how things go. I'm hoping, you know, Pixel 5 does show up on time and maybe even becomes available the same day. And I'm
well,
also looking forward to.
and there's this huge opportunity. I feel like there's gonna be a very consistent response for like Pixel 6 being a failure if it's priced above a Galaxy S21. And so that's where I'm putting my Vegas odds on. What will the reviews say? How could Google justify their price? They don't have these features. Now everyone needs to cater to Samsung's pricing, even though Samsung is offering less on their phones.
Mm-hmm.
But Samsung has decided that an entry level premium tier flagship phone is only worth it for $699, and you can only make a phone if you give me more than what Samsung is offering and charge me less, and Google's aren't worth it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm putting out. It won't matter if Whitechapel's good or bad. It won't matter if Google software is on point. It won't matter that it's not just like bug fixes. It's every other month there's a feature drop. None of that is worth money.
No,
All of that should just be freebies for freeze for the freeze.
because you're trying to compete with Samsung, which gives you everything.
Because the only conversation we can have is how is this viewed through the prism of someone who is already invested in the Samsung ecosystem and wasn't going to switch teams anyway. Or like
Absolutely
El
no.
Jefe is saying, like, well, from the Nexus days when the Nexus phones were cheap, Google betrayed us.
There was a big
How
there was
dare
a big uprising back in the day when Google went from Nexus to Pixel, or at least when they announced the end of the Nexus line, and then the Pixel came in, and Pixel was so much more expensive, and it was like,
Yep.
what? But
But
I'm like, wait, stop,
But I mean, it's
hold you.
interesting, you had a number of cats out there, especially some of the larger content creators that were like, yes, this is like pure Google, and Google has like the hardware software synergy, and there's a reason why you pay a premium, even if it doesn't have all these other features. And the Pixel 1 got like a lot of blinks in pre-release and then a lot of love after its release.
Oh yeah, no,
And
absolutely.
now
Once
it's
you
the
realize,
spectator sport to point out how Google can't do anything right. Nothing's ever good enough. I mean, I still love watching people bend themselves into pretzels over the Pixel 3a, because that was a foregone conclusion before it really shipped that that was a failure phone. And then it sold like crazy for a Pixel, and you're like, well, I mean, Google's probably, I mean, it's because they're so good at marketing. Like, no, shut up. It's a good phone.
it's a good phone. They
Just
barely
stop
even
stop
marketed it.
pretending
The
you're an
the the phone,
authority in
dude.
this
The
conversation.
4A sold out at pre-sales. Not
Yeah,
when it was released. It was in
yeah.
pre-sale and it sold out. That's how crazy. And that's more than likely what's going to happen with the 5A already. And Google knows it. All they have to do is seriously is double down on them on the approach that they did last year, the focus level that they talked about when we were in that meeting with them. And they're really it's their game to be lost. I mean, seriously, they have the right formula, and he hit big for them. So this is literally the year to continue. So hopefully Whitechapel does provide that level of approach.
Yeah,
Maybe
but again, it doesn't matter.
I
Aditya
know,
kind
no,
of
no.
nailed it. Pixel 6, if priced right, could be awesome. Well, how much is that? Well, I don't know. Like it
What
doesn't matter. So if anyone's out there saying, like, well, I mean, you need to justify the price tag and price it in a way that it needs to be a good value. Well, you're not quantifying value. And basically, you've left that super vague so that no matter what price it comes in at, you can always pivot. And if the phone is popular, then you can say, see, I was right. Google made it a good value, and that's why it sold well. But if it doesn't sell well, then you can say, see, I was right. Google should have made it a good value and
fuzzy.
priced it right. And they priced it too much, because that's the problem. And you're like,
Yeah,
it's a rigged game every single time someone sort of postulates on what would make Google successful in the smartphone sales arena.
yeah.
Well, no, I'm sorry, I'm trying really hard not to just like swear like crazy, but yeah, no big surprise. Less expensive phones sell more than more expensive phones. You're not Nostradamus over there. That's easy to grok. It's true of every manufacturer. So now what we need to see is how does it perform comparatively to
Hmm.
other similarly priced phones? And I'm sure it's going to get a very fair assessment from the rest of the tech community. I'm sure they're going to be
Totally.
very, very dutiful in their
Very
task
objective, no
of
subjectivity here. Very,
reviewing and testing performance and claims,
take it
like they
easy,
always
Juan.
are.
You don't have to take off the shirt, man. It's okay.
Oh, it's coming off.
It's coming
I'm
out.
I'm
Okay.
already this is I'm yeah, this is gross over here because this office is just baking right now.
Welcome to the club, man. You should see what I have. No, I'm just kidding. There's a reason why I don't turn on the TV and all the monitors and all of that stuff, because it
I
gets
may or
warm
may not be
after.
wearing pants for this broadcast. It's how we make it through.
Cue in Aditya. Go ahead, Aditya. Take it away.
My only ones is needing extra content. So there you go.
That's exactly what it is, and we're gonna have to start bringing up Juan's taking off his t-shirt. We're on site, Juan. We're on site. It's YouTube. It's a different show. Well, with that being said, we're gonna have to end the show because Juan got to go ahead and
Get
switch
after
channels over.
the-
It's that right sweet spot where we get to that point.
Right. Come join the after party over
The
on
after
my
party.
OnlyFans.
Um, Hopefully we'll have to see how things go with next week and stuff. And like I said, with Pixel and
Mhm.
I think overall it's been an interesting year. The chip shortage is going to be very realistically hitting us in many ways, and we haven't started to see it. It is there. I mean, we're seeing the delays, but even with hardware that becomes available, I feel like that maybe we'll start seeing some price increases in certain devices that we typically don't see before. So
Yeah.
when we're talking about the pricing of a smartphone, a new phone, or whatever, even if it's a new chipset, Samsung moving away from Tizen, going over to Wear OS on their smartwatches is also somewhat of an interesting move. They're
Hmm.
now working with Google. There seems to be more shift in different things going on. So we'll have to see how does that kind of go. But with that being said, Xiaomi the way out. Oh my God, Michael Pepper. Okay, Michael's.
It's good.
We need to change this to the dad jokes department.
It's all on
Tonight.
point. I mean, you've got like your next 5 video
I
titles ready
got
to
all
go.
of them. I just have to make sure to
You
kind
just
of
got to make the
capitalize.
videos.
I just got to do the work. You got to do the work. Got to
You
got to show me the
you
work.
you've got to come up with your title and your thumbnail. Once you've got
Now,
those set, then you can think about what the content of that video is going to be.
show me, wow me. Oh my God, people are
Do
gonna
it.
slaughter me.
Do it.
No, no, dude, I'm not kidding. I will double down on that one and
Do
jump
it.
in and do. Shall we wow me is coming to my. I love it. Tech Love and Mama combined it. She put it in it. Shall me wow me in one word as opposed to wow and then me. Okay. Uh,
I think that's the right note to wrap this up on.
it is before Aditya kills me with the Xiaomi only channel. Um, Thank you very much for hanging out with us, everybody. Tech Love and Mama, Jeff, Aditya, everybody in there. Michael, of course, thank you for that idea. I will definitely be very much taking that idea and definitely giving you some credit there. Gary hanging out with us, Ranesh, also Greg, Adam, everybody hanging with us in the chat for spending some time with us and listening to us. Be aware that hopefully by maybe next morning or so, there'll be an audio version of podcast of this video, which essentially is just literally a raw excerpt right now. We haven't really fine-tuned that part. It'll hopefully be available. Link with that will be in the description as well for you guys to check it out. And hopefully, by next week, by this time next week, we'll have a lot of Google stuff to talk about. We'll be Googling
Yeah.
over Googles, and
I'll be googly-eyed for Google I/O.
my assistant turned on as I said it. I was like, "You're listening."
Ah,
Uh, so
oh, they're always listening.
they're always, always, always. So take care, everybody. Have a good night. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you, Juan, for hanging out with us as well. And we'll see you guys on another episode of Best of Our Week next week after Google I/O. Take care,
Take
everybody.
care.
Bye bye.
Bam.